right, thank you for staying with the State of the Nation. My guest is still with me, Professor Tom Ojienda, Senator for Kisumu, Senator Dan Manzo, Senator for Makueni, Eric Okeo, governance expert, and Tim Kipchumba, governance and policy expert as well. Thank you all for making time. Let's talk about the latest event, that is the Kamkunji rally, where Professor Ojienda was, and now Eric Okeo is calling it an unpopular rally. And Prof, I'll start with you on this. So the idea behind this rally was to consult the people before ODM and UDA started their own negotiations about creating a political pact into 2027. But was that a consultation, or were the leaders just telling the people what they've already decided? Because we did not see any interaction where the people told you what they want.
Good question.
Public participation.
Good question.
Thank you, Trevor. Trevor, let me start by outlining the law and the structure of the Orange Democratic Movement. And I speak to the Constitution. Under Article 7, that creates a framework for governance, the organs of the ODM party are set out. We have the National Delegates Conference at the top. The National Delegates Conference is the place where all decisions of the party are made, the National Delegates Convention, NDC. Then under the NDC, we have the National Governance Council, or the NGC. Then we have the NEC, National Executive Council. And then lower or down, we have the Central Committee that met in Kilifi, and there are members. And then we have regional structures. So if you look at the structure of the party, as you, before the national, of course you have the membership, of the general membership, that I think that is what we were dealing with yesterday. You're consulting the membership. Then of course, the NDC, the National Delegates Convention, can then make a decision towards what would be a pre-coalition agreement. And I think if I look at the UDA constitution, with which I'm also familiar, we have a similar framework of governance under the UDA constitution. If you look at Articles 15 to 17, they create the National Delegates Congress and the UDA, which is the supreme organ of the party. Now, fast forward, the consultation. What then did Oburu Odinga, party leader, the legitimate party leader of ODM, do in Kilifi? He convened on the 12th, issued a presser, and the presser then set out a series of meetings that would then consult membership so that we can move towards a pre-election coalition. And Trevor, I spoke of a pre-election coalition in this forum.
Way before it happened.
Way before anyone spoke about it. When Sifuna was sitting where Eric is sitting, I spoke towards difficulties and the possibility that Sifuna would entangle the party when he was sitting there. And I even said that, I made a number of things that seemed to come to pass. So a lot of things that I said about the coalition are exactly what we are witnessing now. Coincidentally, Trevor, the UDA party also held a National Executive Committee meeting yesterday and resolved to cooperate or to work towards a coalition agreement with ODM. So things happened just like we have said, the predictions that we made in this forum. Trevor, let me say this. Under Article 10 of the Constitution of ODM, you read Article 10 together with Article 14.6, a pre-coalition agreement is possible. Written, signed, a framework agreed, eventually deposited with the registrar of political parties. And I had stated then, here, and now, that the surest way of coalition building between ODM and UDA is to have a pre-coalition agreement that would set the conditions for the arrangement between ODM and UDM right before the election, deposited 6 months with the registrar before the election. Now, what is going on are consultations. Now, yesterday, behind the mask that you saw, behind the leaders that you saw, we were at a podium addressing the public. Those are members of ODM who are wearing caps. If you see an individual wearing a cap of ODM, that is a member of ODM. Now, Those were serious consultations because we were asking questions to the members. And they agreed with the party leader unanimously. I don't think you can fault. That is part of public information, public participation.
Okay.
That will then be reduced. Then now when the lawyers finally convene a boardroom to work on the agreement under the framework as set out under the Constitution, then all those pointers will then be, we can have the dots and all that.
Okay.
So I think, I don't think a political consultation is an affair where you'd have people in a boardroom because you're dealing with the public. So I think the process, do not follow the process merely because there are many people. And in any event, how else do you consult the masses? You consult them through those meetings.
Or by allowing
this is just
rather than
this is just the first meeting.
Okay.
This is just the first meeting, and there'll be other meetings around the country.
Okay.
Trevor.
Let me bring in Manzo on this. Manzo, is Wiper ready to sit down with ODM and form a pre-election coalition?
Right now, we are in Azimio. Under the law, we're in the same coalition with the ODM. And therefore, even before the party leader of ODM rested, and may God rest his soul in eternal peace, there were a lot of consultations going on between the party leader of Wiper and the party leader of ODM, because we have a long history. We come together many years. We've been running together and losing together. And now there were still strategies. You remember, Raila Odinga say that, the current situation was up to 2027. And after 2027, ODM, which is a very big political party, it's the biggest political party in Kenya, was going to decide where to go. And ODM being a very strong political party, and you have heard Dr. Oburu say that now that under their constitution, he's a party leader, he's the automatic presidential candidate. So ODM as a presidential candidate, Wiper as a presidential candidate. Nothing stops. And if you have heard our partners like DCP, party leader, Gachagua say, you ODM and Wiper have come a long way. If you don't like me as a person, please, you have the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, His Excellency, the 10th Vice President of the Republic, who is your friend. Talk to him, because we need to set this country right.
Okay.
So ODM will play a very big role in what it has struggled for over the years.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the wrong person is speaking for ODM. Professor Ojenda had sold out ODM to UDA even before Raila went into any talks. So he was the first one to defect a long time ago. Yeah. So I don't think he is competent enough to talk on behalf of ODM. It has a Secretary General called Sifuna who is quoting.
Who was not there in that meeting.
And who was not in that meeting.
And was not in the other set.
And there was another meeting and another one. But I believe ODM being a grassroots party, with a lot of supporters, who people should listen to their wish. I bring you greetings from Northern Kenya. I've been in Northern Kenya a few days, there was a petition to Parliament, and also, Kenyans who crossed to Ethiopia to come back home, and they really want to come back home because on the other side, they had a UNHCR. And when I went to, when I went to Marsabit and I went to Isiolo, and listened, to people. And in fact, you remember the governor of Marsabit was initially elected in ODM. So the Northern Kenya and Northeastern have very many ODM followers. Okay. So they should not just, they should listen to different parts of the country. And when I listen to those people, young people have a lot of hope that Kenya is going to change. Okay. And first I must thank, on that note, I must thank President Kibaki for doing the road to Moyale. Okay.
You say that there were consultations between the late Raila Odinga and Wiper party leader. Are those consultations happening now between Dr. Oburu Oginga and Kalonzo Musyoka?
I want to say that Dr. Oburu Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka have a very good relationship. and they talk quite often. That's why you heard, because you know ODM is an opposition party, that's why you heard the DCP leader inviting Oburu Odinga to be part of a team. And if it's a word, we agree to be the president of the republic. We have the numbers to do so. Okay. So we are in opposition.
Go where?
Okay.
We are in opposition.
Prof is asking you numbers.
Wait. The country has already spoken.
Yeah.
Whether agenda continues to be UDA apologies, UDA is finished. As soon as DCP left the UDA coalition, what is left? Other than if UDA was to survive, it is UDA which needs ODM.
Okay.
Not ODM needing UDA.
Team, what should these coalitions be based on?
I think we should pull back a bit.
Yeah.
If you were to look at Kenya Kwanza stroke UDA and Azimio, their manifestos, let's even touch on infrastructure. Azimio manifesto was very clear. They want innovative financial solutions to fund infrastructure. They wanted, there is more than 17 pages of mention of infrastructure and the role of infrastructure in being catalytic to the growth of the country. Fast forward to UDA, the same thing. National Infrastructure Fund, Sovereign Wealth Fund as the means to enable what was an aspiration for Azimio. If you go to youth, Azimio probably are the highest number of funds that should have been created. Student Development Fund, Marine Craft Fund, Emergency Medical Services Fund, Equalization Fund, Regional Skills Fund. The same is happening today with ASLA Fund, is happening today with Nyota, is happening today with all this programming. On NADCO report, Azimio and Kenya Kwanza agree. They agree that there are things that we agree, there are things we don't reject. They don't want extension of term limits. So I think if you already have parties that are saying, you know what, we share common interest around how the country can be grown, can be expanded. For many years, Right Honorable Raila Odinga would speak with admiration for the Asian tigers. It's the same dream today that the president is basing our next leap of growth. And so the natural thing is for coalitions to form together. And, Trevor, you will remember the prisoner's dilemma. Two prisoners are being told, hey, if you cooperate, both of you walk out. If you don't cooperate, and one of you is caught, you're jailed 3 years. If you don't cooperate, both of you, you get jailed for 2 years. Historically in Kenya, 1992 general election, the number of votes that KANU won vis-a-vis the rest of the opposition, 1.9 million out of 5.4 million. It's a lost opportunity for cooperation. 1997, lost opportunity for cooperation. Basically, you could say it took 10 years for the 2002 coalition partners to trust themselves, to say, you know what, Raila, Kibaki, Ngilu, we are going to come together and we will win the presidency. At the point in 2002 when they cooperated, they won. That's the situation when, in game theory, you say, parties already have prior information that tells them what actions we should be making today to determine tomorrow. 2007, narrowly contested, but coalition won. 2013, 2017, coalition won. 2022, coalition won. In 2027, you can be sure. It's the parties that meet together, that trust each other, that agree that the most important agenda for the country is this one, which I think today is ODM and UDA saying, you know what, we share many things. We share the need to build out infrastructure. We want to expand the economy. We want to grow the economy. If they share, why should they wait until 2027 when it's already very clear from our game theory that coalitions is the only way to win election in Kenya?
Okay, what should these coalitions be based on? Because we keep hearing conversations about coalitions, but what are they based on?
Trevor, thank you. Before I come to the coalitions, let me first speak to ODM in response to my friend and brother, Senator Ojenda. Senator,
you're really dealing with the gender.
Yeah, I mean, he's my senator. He's actually on that position because of my vote. I voted for him.
Yeah.
Senator Ojenda, unlike me, has no good grasp of history of ODM, to the extent that even the benefit and advantage of his legal training and practice cannot cure. I have been a member of this ODM from its inception.
Yeah.
Which ODM?
I know for a fact that Senator Ojenda, by paper, became its member just before elections in 2022. And then moved away and went. He doesn't belong to that party, as it were. And today, there are scavengers in the ruling elite, led by the high priest, who want ODM in pieces, not ODM in one piece. It will be interesting and curious for you to appreciate that the members, the leaders of ODM, whether in Senate or National Assembly, the ones who are this marriage protagonists and supporters for, are the rebels that Ojenda is part of. The ones who tweeted unapologetically being married by UDA and its leader, William Ruto. So they say these things Ojenda is saying here, but in their heart they don't wish ODM well. They wish it died. And that's why I'm saying, I agree with Senator Manzo, that another person should talk about ODM and its vision for stability, not this one. This one went. And you see, Trevor, in that part of Kenya where we come from, bereavement is enormous and is serious. The loss of a spouse, the loss of a father, are very, 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 very deeply loss-creating and excruciating that one takes time to recover from. In the community I come from, there is a saying, ni chogo minoero, which means, for the advantage of Senator Manzo and team, that the last-born say is as delicate to trample on. The Honorable Raila Odinga, when he breathed his last, was in the company of his last-born daughter and his last-born sibling. Those two have spoken towards caution in these talks with UDA. These rebels that Tom is part of, the ones who are baying for the Secretary General's blood, have not been called to Karen for a hug by the widow of the former Prime Minister. That must be telling. That you cannot ignore. The absence of the two last-borns I have referred to from the rally that only Professor believes had masses yesterday in Kibra must also be telling. You have now seen coastal people saying, if Joho is not brought to the table in these negotiations, they will go. You have seen that being said of Western Kenya. That is what the scavengers and their high priest want of ODM. They don't want a stable party that Maanzo says is the biggest party in the country. They want the party to die, to be in pieces. I can tell you, the rally in Kibra yesterday, did not have masses, if I know the meaning of mass and masses in English, and I truly do. It did not have. In fact, I would dare say it was a handful. The Secretary General of that party is the Senator of Nairobi, elected by the people of Nairobi. His absence should not be a casual thing to ignore and say it means nothing. No. And when a leader of another party that wants to buy and has already put price tags on your rebels and gone with them, now says he will help the party to stabilize, but in the eyes of everyone sane, the party is breaking into pieces.
Yeah.
You must see calamity and catastrophe ahead.
Okay.
Which is why I'm saying, let me just land, which is why I am saying that legalists will not help the issue of ODM. The issue of ODM is about fact and issue. And it has very many leaders who haven't spoken. And we will now see a lot of these engagements. Rightly as you put it, the meeting of yesterday was about people being told, those who want to go can go, we are going to do this. You know, it would, public participation would have also sort of been a town hall mindset where you also listen to the voter, you listen to the person who voted for you. It's only in Kenya where the moment you vote for them, they go.
Okay.
Even me, I must thank you for these shows. Now I meet my senator. I hardly meet this guy until he became senator. But you see, Trevor, Trevor has, in conclusion, there has been the Asian tiger issue. There has been the issue of Singapore and so on. I made a deliberate decision during Christmas to visit Singapore. And I was in Singapore for 10 nights. The difference between Singapore and Kenya is corruption and fiscal indiscipline, full stop. In every sector, Singapore people don't attack heritage buildings. They keep them for museums. State House was not William Ruto's building to change in the manner that pleased him. We wanted State House to remain what it was, to be some sort of a national gallery, a museum of sorts, to be what it was. Singapore say such buildings, anyone in leadership can only deal with the interior, not the structural aspect of it. Singapore, there is no corruption. I don't know whether in the recent past you have heard of any corruption charges preferred or recommended by the EACC against high priests of corruption in this regime. Zero. Singapore pays its people well. In Singapore, it's fatal to imagine or dream corruption. In Kenya, it makes you an ally of the state. That if you dreamt that EACC were going to knock your door, and you tweeted in support of UDA, no one will visit you. Some of these people will say whatever they are telling William Ruto today to any leader end of next year. Whether it was Kalonzo, Gachagua, Matiang'i, all these people, including Senator Ojienda, who will say the things they are saying today to any new leader. Kenya must get to a point where politics is value-based, is about principle, is about deep belief in the ideologies, and not about scavenger mindset where you do not care, you have no sleep trouble of being almost called a political prostitute of sorts.
Are you concerned that Sifuna wasn't there? And then I would like to make a prediction of what's going to happen going forward, because most of your predictions have actually come true in as much as...
Trevor,
because he was sold away.
Trevor, there's just a point I need to make. You know, when Eric of Jubilee Party speaks, you take that with a pinch of salt. But let me move on. Sifuna, by the way, SG Sifuna is a great friend. I have every respect for Sifuna, the advocate, Sifuna, the senator, Sifuna, the SG of the ODM. He's the Secretary General of the party, very objective, ordinarily. And let me say this, that whether or not Sifuna attends, whether he attended Kilifi or not, is only something that will be known to the party leader. I'm sure he must have spoken to the party leader and explained why he was not in Kilifi and why did not come to yesterday's meeting. The party leader was very categorical that nobody has been removed from ODM. Nobody. Not the SG, not the deputy party leader of SOTSI. They are part of the ODM. And remember, Trevor, this is just a first consultation. I am sure the party leader consults with SG Sifuna. So let us not listen to Manzo and Eric. Let not give credence to the arguments. Let them not create a division between the SG and the party leader and bring some aspect of a hug that is bring that nobody has been hugged. I think
he was not even there. He was not even present.
The relationship between the party organs or the party leaders and their relatives and individuals is as private as anything else. We don't speak about hugs. When we meet and hug, we don't speak about them in public. But the truth of the matter is that we all keep a very close relationship. When politicians speak in public, at times you think that they are foes. But when they meet, they are very, very good friends. And I can tell you, without an iota of doubt, that Senator Oburu will and continues to hold the party together, ODM together. I mean, I see the chemistry. We were in Serena before the meeting. Many members were there. Senator Oburu is a great leader. He knows how to engage every member on every issue. He understands this country. He understands the party, and he understands the needs of ODM. And he's the correct leader, Trevor, I'll tell you, to unite ODM and deal with all these issues. These issues that are there and that my learned friend and Senator Manzo is speaking to and Erica is speaking to, and by the way, Trevor, let me tell you, I am a life member of ODM. And I know that in spite of all these little divisions that you see and views that you see that are different, ODM will eventually pull together as one party under the party leader, under Gladys Wanga, the chair of the party. I think that framework that Raila Odinga left, God rest his soul, in eternal peace, before he left us, he created a framework that would outlive him. And that framework, in my view, is doing what it is doing. And the wisdom in installing Oburu Odinga as party leader cannot be gainsaid, because he's not only senior, he has experience, he knew and understood the decisions that Raila Odinga made. He was his closest brother, and he spoke to all these things. A lot of the decisions then, even Trevor, when you had issues with Raila, you then speak to Oburu. Oburu would speak to the issue and deal with it. So he's not new to the party.
As an insider, are you going to have conversations with the other parties as well, or is this a UDA?
Clearly, I think initially, Trevor, the UDA ODM pre-election coalition is an important one. These are the two biggest parties in the country. Then other small ones like Wiper can
Wiper is
so we deal with the two major parties. And I can assure you, once the two major parties have a pre-election coalition, the election is won.
What if they don't?
The election is won.
It's won, yeah.
And we are doing it, we shall have it, and the elections will be won, and William Ruto will get a second term. That is not in doubt. Whatever Eric says and all these things, a lot of English here, will not help Jubilee. Jubilee is in the opposition.
Will ODM give the deputy presidential candidate?
Trevor, part of the coalition, the argumentation or the pre-election coalition on the question of whether a deputy president must come from ODM and or UDA, or whether Professor Kindiki and President Ruto will move as president and deputy, are questions that will be dealt with in the coalition agreement. That is part of the discussion. I do not want to preempt. There are certain things I cannot say here.
No, but you predict this.
These are delicate issues that speak to the coalition agreement. I do not want to preempt the outcome of some of these negotiations. I know that in a pre-election coalition, you speak to positions, you speak to issues, and you have a clear framework as to what deal or what will go into an agreement for ODM and within that pact and UDA. So I do not want to speak about the position of deputy president or not, but I don't think that the deputy president must come from either party is not cast in stone, because clearly government is a big thing, and there are many positions that are available to any member. So we leave that for the coalition.
So this is about positions and not about the people?
No, it's about the people. It's about your positions define the people. But remember, right now, the framework must include ODM and other parties, obviously, as well. Because you must ensure that you have parties like Ford Kenya. You make sure that Western Kenya is locked.
Yeah.
You make sure that the vote from
Coast.
Narok and the coast is also locked. So this agreement must include Ford Kenya eventually. I'm sure UDA with that, and one with PA in the coast, so that you have, and also Narok and Sambu and Kajiado, you must also have that axis, so that you have the country. Once you have that axis, you're done with the election. And then you have, of course, if there's any party, UDA will cover Mount Kenya East and most of Mount Kenya.
Okay.
Then you're done. Then Kalonzo Musyoka will be the leader of opposition.
Okay. Let me hear what Manzo has to say about this. Manzo, what should these coalitions really be about? And what do you read in the missing of some of the leaders on the ODM side? Are they coming to your side? In fact, there's been a conversation that you are wooing them and they're having conversations with you.
Let me say that first and foremost, all the manifestos of political parties are manufactured from one source. Every time political parties are being formed, or every other time they are doing their internal training, manifestos, they are common. So there's no way one will boast one manifesto is better than the other. They all cover the same things. The question is who does what better. The biggest problem with the current government, and that's why the Singapore dream is, it's a nightmare. You can be dreaming, but you're having a nightmare. You have to deal with the question of corruption. And any coalition be formed which is not bringing the country together and not dealing with corruption, Kenyans are not happy with it. You remember the young people said that they wanted their affairs, the management of Kenya's affairs done better, in a transparent manner, and that the people who are leading the country should stop, looting from the country and distribute, fairly. Just to divert a little bit, the Nyota issue. If you see, it is covering a very small percentage of young people. You see, if you help young people, you help across the board. Don't help 10% and leave 90% helpless, who are more deserving. Even the manner of choosing the ones who are going to assist. And when Professor Dungu came up with this idea, it was a big idea. And by the way, it's a loan, which we shall start paying in 2034. So it's not free money, and you have to manage it well so that economies can be grown. But they cannot be grown that way, the way the country is having a nightmare. They can only be grown if political parties first implement their manifestos and true to the letter, and also by balancing everything in the country and making sure, first of all, there is justice in the country, because the moment you don't have justice in the country, then you have a problem. So these so-called coalition arrangements, and the Honorable Sifuna has been very forthright. The only thing so far between UDA and ODM is a 10-point agenda, which is not being implemented. And the condition was that the 10-point agenda be implemented for the betterment of the country. At the moment that's not being done, there's a problem. The other day, the housing projects have stopped. In water, in water, in water, where the president visited recently, the last 1 month, the contractor has told, the young people are now asking me what happened.
So you're saying the last time you're with him, that's the last time there was activity in that side?
Yes, and as soon as he left, and all the things he has promised, there is nothing happening in the country. You must make your dreams come true. So there must be no lies. There must be not too much PR. People should see real action, real activity, real time. So the current government of UDA has failed completely. And especially when UDA lost a big chunk to the division which went to DCP, what is left of UDA today? Without ODM, it's the smallest party you can find in the country. And that's why ODM must be very careful not to be swallowed, not to be bought, not to be misused, because a lot of Kenyans have hope in the ODM fight for justice in the country. ODM cannot afford to lose what it was formed for. By, you know, people like Professor Ojenda who just walk in to get elected and then walk out and go to other. It's like a lady who gets married and within 1 week she has left that marriage even without a divorce, a proper divorce, to another union. So we have to have justice in the country. And I want to say that ODM is very smart, and we trust the leadership of Dr. Oburu Odinga. He is not naive.
So
if there is somebody
that they don't,
and you know, he's my desk mate in the parliament, in Senate. Dr. Oburu Odinga is not naive at all. And I want ODM to listen to their new party leader. He's very wise, and in fact, he was the biggest advisor of Raila Odinga. So the success.
Once their conversation with UDA ends, then they start to talk to Wiper.
They are talking. I can assure you, ODM is engaging everybody who means well for this country.
Including Wiper.
Including Wiper. ODM is engaging everybody who wants justice in the country. I can assure you one thing ODM will not do. It will not support the killings of young people. It will not support theft. It will not support, an equal development to the whole country. This is the truth, my friend. I've been elected for many years, and I've been around in politics. We know the honest politicians and the dishonest politicians, and Kenyans know. So we also want Kenyans to watch. And the only way to support political parties for the young people is to register as Kenyans, register as voters, and vote out a bad government.
I want to go into the reactions really quick.
No, Senator Manzo, you've been ex-Tare, member of parliament for 15 years. But we still import 500 billion worth of food. The president is saying, my tea earnings are up 50%. My acreage for edible oil is up 90%. Coffee earnings, 130, 150 per kilo. And he's saying, I want to bring ODM together with UDA on a path for economic liberation. You're talking about corruption for a very long time. Today, the headline is KQ. I have not seen you bring a motion at the Senate, for instance, to say, you know what, Ethiopia Airlines last year made $1 billion in revenue. What is the problem with KQ? Ethiopia Shipping Line made $1 billion in revenue last year. But you're talking about justice, but you're not doing it. The thing to do, Senator Manzo, is to stand for young people. You actually need to do something to deliver the things that you're talking about. The only way out for our country is what the president is betting on. He's betting on infrastructure. He's betting on National Infrastructure Fund, funding our infrastructure. He's betting on opportunities for young people. You don't have an alternative plan for Nyota. But you've been a senator for the last couple of years. I mean, the president has registered 7 million farmers. There is nothing stopping you today at Senate by working directly with the Development Liaison Office and saying, you know what, I'm going to support my governor, who's a friend of mine. And I will also mobilize capital myself to actually allow farmers. I will sign up farmers. I will sign an offtake agreement. I will go to Europe every March. And when I'm in Europe, I will say that we grow this avocado, we grow these apple mangoes. Here is the funding. Here is the opportunity. The president has already signed up 7 million farmers. Nothing is stopping you as a senator today to actually change the lives of those farmers. But, you know, we can just make good news here on TV, but then you're not really doing anything meaningful. The young people are counting on all of us. And the conversation should be about how can we make it possible. You know, we interviewed young people that participated in post-election violence on both sides of the divide. Those ones that participated and those ones that didn't. There was one resounding common variable that could predict the likelihood of a young person moving from being non-violent to being violent by 49%. That variable is called self-efficacy. We need more young people. We need more young people to believe that their own effort can get them what they want late life. Today, young people are betting 10 million shillings every single hour. Every single hour. We need more young people to believe that there is a path for them just like there was a path for you. Okay. You went to study, and we need more young people to do that. But we cannot just keep, we actually need to really, really start delivering for the people, for the young people.
Let me bring up some feedback really quick and then come to you for some quick final thoughts on this issue of the referendum. Are we in a constitutional moment going forward? Should we converge that with the elections that's coming up in the next year? Bobo Wino, it's a pity 800,000 senior learners still at home, yet we are dreaming of Singapore in first world country. I wonder what the people next to President William Ruto, like Professor Ojienda Tom and others, are advising him about.
That's a comment.
Franco Rinde says politically lines are shifting fast. Old alliances are fraying, new courtships are happening quietly, and everyone is calculating 2027. Ideology is taking a back seat as survival politics takes center stage. Who's listening to Wananchi as leaders reposition? Okay. Kiberenge Jr. says, if what we saw in Kibra yesterday is what ODM looks like in Baba's bedroom, then the answer is not more rallies or rushed deals. The answer is pause, listen, consult, and build a consensus. Anything else risks turning ODM into a hollow shell. Okay? Kipiegon says, I don't think ODM will survive post-Raila. Cracks are emerging, and very soon it will be fragmented into many pieces. The likes of Tom Ojienda are trying to sell ODM to UDA. UDA-ODM pact is not beneficial to the people, but it's a survival tactic for politicians.
Kenyans know you.
That Nixon says it's very likely that 2027 elections will be about the much-hyped holy coalitions against lots of money to drive the system as well as the electorate. Manipulation of the vote will carry the day. That's the East African order. Okay? Okay, are we?
Record speaks.
Okay.
Record speaks.
Are we in a constitutional moment?
Trevor, I think now the general election is coming next year. If you ask me whether or not we need a referendum, my answer would be no. I don't think we need a referendum now. No. It's going to be costly unnecessarily to the taxpayer. It's wasteful. It is about self-interest. It is about convenience speaking, as opposed to thinking about the dream. The academic connotations from the president and his ilk will not solve our problem. Kenyans know there is a problem. They know that their problems will not be solved through transaction deals. And you have seen the reactions that are spontaneous here. People know their leaders. People know, even my senator here, that is extremely transactional. So Kenyans are saying, no, we have no more time for transactional leaders. The Tumbo policy, which is what is the agenda of the government of the day, will finish our country. Kenya Kuisha's Singapore vision will be resisted by well-meaning Kenyans. And like William Ruto himself said, Kenyans are not Jingaporeans. Wajinga waliisha. But suddenly, mimi ni yule mpumbavu. See you at the poll.
Prof, your reaction is what the people have said, and is this a constitutional?
Trevor, speaking to the Constitution and clearly Articles 256 and 257 setting possibility of amending the Constitution through the two paths, Parliament and the public or the popular vote, it is possible that any of those modes can be achieved within the 2-year period that we have to the election.
Yeah.
It is very possible, perfectly possible, Trevor, that the time, every 10 years, the Constitution contemplates the possibility of a review or reconsideration or re-evaluation of certain articles if they are working or not working. So we have that moment, and that moment is a possibility. We could do it within this time. We have enough time for public participation, and it is possible, Trevor, that this is an agenda that IEBC could run with if we have one question, especially a systems question, if we want to have the position of Prime Minister, elective or otherwise, we can have that question, frame it, and have people vote for that question at a referendum to be held at the same time as the election. We can change the system. Why not? And why not? It is the people. The people must desire. If the people desire that change, you cannot stop them, Trevor.
So it can be a one question and then subsequently concurrently with the election.
Yeah. Yes, that you vote as you're voting for your leaders. Yeah. You also vote for that question.
Is there a risk that this election in 2027, as a legal mind yourself, could head into headwinds, considering that there are certain timelines that we did not reach in the boundaries delimitation, for example? Can someone simply go to court and say that this election is unconstitutional because we needed to have reviewed certain things which were not done?
It is not unconstitutional. Inefficacy itself, or if a system is inefficacious, it does not achieve, does not mean unconstitutionality. It may mean incompetence or lethargy. You know, the Constitution contemplated a boundary review within a time frame. That has passed. It's long. We should have had new boundaries. Mm-hmm. But that we've not done it does not mean that we cannot go on with elections in the 210 constituencies as contemplated as currently set out. So we must move on to do elections. Okay. I'm sure there could be legal challenges, but legal challenges and actual delimitation questions that IEBC should have undertaken. There are other factors, resources, and we've not had an IEBC for a long time. Yeah. The Rastas Commission just came into being the other day and is working towards an election. No, they've just done the by-elections last month, and others are coming in next month. You know, so we cannot fault them for not having been there, or for not having done what ought to have been done. Okay. So that is an impossibility. You cannot say it is unconstitutional because we have less constituencies. Okay.
I'll come to you, Timber. Let's see how Mwanzo. Yes.
Yes, I want to say that the propositions we have seen for constitutional amendment up to now are 14. The Constitutional Court has already directed that if you are to have a referendum within an election, that's meaning the 7th ballot box, then it can only be one issue. So out of the 14, you have to see what is priority. Yeah. And the issue of a premiership or changing, because you see, we have two systems in the world. You have either a presidential system or a premiership system. So if we change to a powerful prime minister, that needs a lot of voter education. And therefore, doing a referendum with the 7th ballot may not be serving the interests of the people right now. Remember, even the issue of CDF is pending that. And you see, you have it has to be people-oriented. The people should have begun with the idea. Up to now, this idea is selfish, is only with the leaders, and I don't think it's a popular initiative. Okay. Therefore, you cannot have, in this coming election, the only reason then you will have a referendum question will be to delay Kenyans at the 7th ballot box and probably take the election into the night and steal the election. There's no other justification. So for now, we cannot have, we are not scared at all. We have the people. We have the people. And the people will resist any stealing of the coming election. Absolutely. In fact, I want to alert the young ones that they must be part of the election, in that IBC hires young people. University, even when I was a university student, I was a clerk. And from clerk number 1 to clerk number 6 are young people. Those ones can make sure there is no stealing in any police station. And they can stand for the nation. But for you to work for IBC, you must be a registered voter. That's a qualification, and a lot of them will do that. And therefore, the nation is ready for change. The nation wants to do away with corruption. And a referendum in 2027 is not a priority. Oh. Okay. The priority in 2027 is to send William Ruto home for all Kenyans.
All right. Team.
No, I think we are overdue for. I think we are overdue for discussions around review of the Constitution, and I think there is significant opportunity. When this Constitution was promulgated, or rather promulgated, what Kenyans didn't vote on is typically all companies will have a strategic plan, but they will accompany that strategic plan with a budget. I don't think it was very clear to Kenyans that as soon as the Constitution comes, you would have 9, 10 commissions, some of them that also play an overlapping role. So Public Service Commission, SRC, you could potentially match those to NGCDF, for instance, and the legality of it. Because on one hand, we are saying governors should not stay for 10 years because they are executives, they oversee funds, you don't want them embedded for more than 10 years. But then, on the other hand, NGCDF, members of parliament, have this budget, 150 million, 200 million, but they can be elected 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. So ideally, if you do this idea that you're giving members of parliament a small budget, then you should limit their term to 10 years. I think there is opportunities, for instance, to look at the need not to separate DPP, Director for Public Prosecution, and the AG. The opportunities around devolving agriculture, more fisheries, doing a bit more work in industry, as well as coastal economy. Today, the size of our sea as a country is the equivalent of 34 counties. Mm-hmm. We should be devolving fisheries more. We should be. So I think there could be an opportunity to say, as the Constitution served us, is our representation per capita too high? Is there an opportunity to do away with some roles? Because if you insist on the review today, you can be certain, because population has gone up, it will just increase the number of members of parliament, the number of senators, or is that really what Kenyans want? If you asked one question in 2027, alongside the election of President William Ruto, it could be, do you want to reduce the size of government? And Kenyans may say yes, and then you figure out a path to actually reduce that government. Because the other thing that cannot happen is that government cannot borrow more than private sector. And today, government is crowding out private sector. We need more money available to entrepreneurs like my friend Eric. We need more builders. We need people like him hiring security workers. We need people like myself creating renewable energy jobs. We sent a team of 40 young people to Mauritania to install 150 acres of solar. We need more capital going to the people that are builders. We need more capital going to farming. That's what makes Singapore dream a reality. In the Asian tigers, the magic was invest in people, invest in their capacity, make sure that you channel private sector to 2 areas. Industry, which is manufacturing, stroke, agriculture. Today, I think there's a window to say, could Kenyans answer that question? Okay, gentlemen, we have to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for making time. That is all the time we had. Asanteni sana for speaking to us on State of the Nation. We'll do this again probably next week. Bye for now. Coming up next is cooking tips. All right, see you shortly.